Reinstated Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, on Saturday, officially rejoined the All Progressive Congress from the People's Democratic Party. The Deputy Governor, who returned to the APC in Benin, the state capital, alongside prominent members of the Dan Obi-led legacy group of the PDP, said he was back to add value to the party. He said, "On behalf of the legacy group, I announce our movement to the APC. We have come to add value to the party. It is time to take back our state. We will not talk too much about action, but because action will speak for us. We are not afraid. We are ready to move forward." He continued, "We, the homeboys, are ready to take our state back through the APC governorship candidate, Monday Obeblo, and his running mate, Dennis Idahosa. We are not troublemakers, but if it comes, we will use it to rub our body and we will move on." Shaibu got to the venue at about 2:08 p.m. and walked straight to where the former governor of the state, Senator Adams Oshomole, was seated and knelt before him, which drew applause from party supporters. Let me start with you, George. What is your take on this development, and how do you think it's going to impact the Guber elections in Edo State?
Personally, I think it's a welcome development. As a politician, you align and realign. It's obvious that he's no longer welcomed in the PDP, given what happened. Even though the court has reversed that, that he's no longer loved in the PDP. So the worst thing that can happen to you as a politician is to remain in a place where you're no longer loved. So for now, it is about political survival. So to pitch tent with the APC, I think that's will make APC more formidable. They already have Adams Oshomole, the former governor. They have the party, so to speak, which is domiciled in Edo State very strongly. So with the addition of Shuaib, who is also a homeboy, who is well known, a grassroots politician, I think the APC will be more stronger, to the election. So it will be more problem for
the PDP,
the current governor and his candidates, that is the PDP people. It will be difficult for them. If you look at the support that Shaibu has garnered, even with the court judgment that was given recently by Justice Omotisho, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you will understand the organic support that the man commands in the state. So I think that will make the APC more stronger.
All right. Zoe, what is your take on this development? Considering, do not forget, Dan Obi, who was expelled from the party, who was suspended from the party. The announcement was made by the National Working Committee. Do not forget that Dan Obi is the South-South Vice Chairman, PDP. What impact do you think this is going to make at this point?
Well, I'm worried about institutions, Chama. I told you I keep talking about building institution, democratic institution. So I rather look at these individual actions in terms of building our democratic institution. While it is fine for an individual to align and realign for individual political interests, how does this impact on our democratic institutions? I'm talking about democracy, I'm talking about internal democracy here. So once you don't have your way, you don't have get what you want, you move to the other party. In the next round of election, if you don't have your way in APC, you move to PDP. These are challenges that we individuals, and that's why last time, if you remember, I talked about attitudinal change in the politics. This is where individual, for example, look at, let's take US for an example, even though as it stands today, they don't stand to be a good example, but however, they've been a long democracy. Look at what is happening. After the primaries in the Republican Party, where there was a serious contest, people were against Donald Trump and the rest of them, they were against each other. But when once a candidate emerged, everybody aligned. A few days ago, on Thursday, when they had their Republican convention where they wanted to nominate, formally declare Donald Trump the candidate of the party. You see Nikki Haley, who was a strong contender. She refused to give up in the primaries to Donald Trump until she saw that there was no way for her. But she was there. So many of them who were contenders were there, and they speak in one voice. They said they are ready to work with the candidate, and they move on. That is how you build democracy. That is how you build internal democracy. The issue of moving from one party to the other is not something I subscribe to if we want to build democratic institution. However, let us not, we should give it to Shaibu for fighting. Okay, in fact, the extent of he has regained his office as deputy governor, right?
No, it's been appealed.
Okay, it's been appealed. So it's going to be stay of execution, right? Now, supposing he gains his office back as the deputy governor of the state, and now he's in APC, how is he going to run the government? So these are the issues we should look at. We should be talking about building the institutions, and building the institutions mean we should guide ourselves with the interests of the institution and not just our individual interests, because it's the institution's vision that brought us in, because we believe in the vision of the institution like the political party. So when once things don't go our way, we should be patient enough to build and wait for another time rather than moving from one party to the other. It doesn't help our democratic process.
When you talk about building the vision, the question would be, what vision exactly?
That is
being built. Now, if I may ask, what are the ideologies of this political
that
parties?
is Chairman.
Can you periscope a bit on the ideologies of APC, PDP, Labour Party, as it
Chairman,
were?
let's not even go there.
No, but we need to,
I mentioned, yes, I mentioned it as what ought to. I mentioned this at what ought to. But if you're talking about ideology, vision, or mission, or whatsoever, all the political party, the vision and ideology are the individuals running the party who have the money to spend, who can direct, who can, that is the problem we're talking about between strong institutions and, a weak institution and strong individuals in our polity.
So now, basically, you just you gave us a classroom theory of what should actually be obtainable in Nigerian democratic system, in Nigerian political ecosystem, correct?
Yes, of course, and we can practice it. It's actually practicable if we want to, and that is why we're talking about that is a problem. That is why
you said we can practice it.
Yeah, we can practice it, okay. And that is why I say attitudinal change, institutional building, and reforming the electoral system so that we have, the laws, so that we have laws that guide individuals and institutions. That's the point I'm making. We can practice them.
All right, when you look at the issues that led to Shuaibu's impeachment and his fallout with Obaseki, you would recall that the fallout stemmed from Shuaibu having an ambition to be the governor of the state. Meanwhile, Obaseki, who is the current governor, had his own candidate. And Shuaibu refused to step down on his ambition. If you recall, that was what led to this whole conundrum that PDP is going through. And Shuaibu is making a case that, okay, I helped you, Obaseki, become the governor. I went against my political godfather, as it were, Adam Soshomole, to ensure that you became the governor. I broke out of APC. If you recall, Obaseki sailed into the seat of a governor on the wings of Shuaibu, with Shuaibu's political influence in Edo State. The question would be, if Obaseki has served his term, why not let Shuaibu? Why must governors in Nigerian democratic system foist or hoist their own candidates? Why must it be so?
Choma, it goes back to the problem. I'm not against Shuaibu. I know the stories you have laid out, the issues that led to Shuaibu, and that's why I gave him credit for fighting to this level.
You are also saying that regardless of what has happened, he should stay.
I'm coming now. Let me land.
Hold on. George made a very salient point. He said it is clear he is no longer welcome. It is clear he is no longer welcome from the body language and everything. Choma, he is no longer welcome. So why would he continue to stay in a system that is fighting him?
It is the same thing that what's his name, Obaseki, the governor, have done. That he is also doing. Two wrongs cannot make a right. In another example again, when they asked Donald Trump, your VP pick, who is it going to be?
Are you aware that American democracy?
Yeah, but we still have to look at something that is attainable, something that is good. They ought to, so that we'll be able to fall in line. When Trump was asked who is going to be your VP pick, he said somebody that can take over the presidency if I'm not there again. That is supposed to be the dream. In fact, when you're going to pick a deputy governor, is automatically that is somebody that you can hand over to. But unfortunately, what we have in Nigeria, governors have refused to allow their deputy governors to take over from them. That is an unfortunate thing, and it's very bad that Obaseki treated Shaibu this way. However, for me, I am concerned about building institutions, and in building institutions, we should be able to also make sacrifices that will require building our institutions, so that these things will be stopped, so that we will have a political culture where when people are choosing as vice president, as deputy governors, as vice chairman at the local government, they will also, because definitely they will aspire, just like you want to be governor, the other person too want to be. When it's time for the person, you now disrupt the system, you now make things difficult for the person. These are the issues we are talking about, that we should have an attitudinal change towards our politics, so that we have a political culture that is stable for our democracy.
All right, Judge.
Well, to an extent, I want to agree with him on building strong institutions as but then and again, the democracy we practice in Nigeria is peculiar to Nigerian states and Nigerian people. So sometimes when you see it going like this, you don't need to even start arguing why it is going like that, because this is the political culture that has been entrenched over the years. So, like I said, I will repeat that what Shaibu has done is what we call political survival. The man is no longer needed in the PDP. And he has gone back to the APC that made him. And now he's declaring war against Obaseki and the candidate of the PDP. Like you rightly said, he wanted to aspire. There's nothing wrong in aspiring.
Yes.
But for whatever reason, like my brother said here, that governors has refused over the years to allow their deputy succeed them.
I don't know what
so
is they're hiding.
They want to force him to stand still to the point of impeaching him. So it's a war between, Obaseki.
It's not personal.
Huh?
It's not personal.
No, the matter has crossed the Rubicon, so it's fine to finish as it is now.
You're right.
Yes, I agree with him totally. But why we say this is the democracy that is peculiar to us, is it good for us? That's another thing we should ask. And if it is not, what are the way forward? And those are the things I am looking at in this discussion.
Fair enough.